center, steps back, throws a fade, back shoulder. Cooper Kupp got it! Cooper Kupp brings it in!
Evening, NFL DFS fans. Welcome back to the Touchdowns for Dough show. Ever present me, ever present Jack. Mark has decided to come back from Italy and joined by a man you may recognize for any putting for Dough fans. We've got a washed-up, low-level college football player who now is a niche basketball DFS enthusiast. Kurt, I took that from RotoWire. I saw it earlier and I was like, do you know what a great introduction that would be when he comes on the show later. Washed-up, low-level college basketball.
Yeah, they wrote that actually. It wasn't even me. They wrote that. Yeah, happy to be back with you guys. Little roto plug. Still run pure till I die, but little side quest of my life. Doing a little bit of stuff for roto as well. I just want to spread the EuroLeague game, so I thought it'd be great to. They reached out to me, and I was like, I think it'd be a great idea. I just want to get more eyeballs in the sport. It's fun. It's over here during the day, so some of us can enjoy that who don't work real jobs or just hate their job. And then over there for you guys, it's like prime time, right? So that's awesome. I feel like you guys get shit on NBA and NFL is like at a weird time. So it's nice to kind of have that. So, but glad to be back here with you guys. I always love the intros. I don't know who makes those, but they're fire. Nice. Yeah, Nick. Yeah, they're sick. So
they're getting longer as well, Kurt. I don't know if you've noticed. By next season's golf, it's going to be about 3 or 4 minutes long.
Gives me time to keep looking at the EuroLeague stats.
Just full of riding highlights.
But the whole budget goes in us buying the rights to show NFL packages and highlights as well, doesn't it?
But you get away with it by like doing like short clips, right? Like under 3 seconds, and you don't get.
Oh, is that the rule?
We don't know.
I don't know. We haven't been sued yet.
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Any day now it's going. So
yeah, the NFL are worried about us.
Yeah. But yeah, happy to be back. Talk some football, which. Surprisingly, I'm jinxing this, but I don't really care because I know it's not going to happen again. But 2 weeks in a row for me profiting on Classic. I just don't want to do GPPs, so obviously it's a very hard task. But yeah, back-to-back weeks I've made pretty solid money in the Classic NFL streets. So I'm pretty sure it'll end this week. But I've just been seeing the board pretty clearly. Like I love seeing. I hate Singletary as a player. One of my least favorite plays. But last week I was on him. And they're just playing so fast. He's going to keep getting the bulk of the work, and they're not playing one of the best run defenses in the league anymore. So at 4,700, I thought he was going to fall in the end zone. I thought his floor was probably going to be like 13 in that matchup, ceiling maybe 18. I was not expecting 26, but 4,700 unowned. I feel like I was seeing the board pretty clearly. Don't know how much longer my luck will run, but hopefully you guys can help me out maybe.
We will see.
These two can maybe.
Well, I don't know about that. My weekend was distinctly average, to be honest. It was a break-even weekend. Plus,
I'll take the NFL.
Plus a little bit. Not one of the better weekends. What probably did me was the late games. Dallas ran up that good of a score that just they hit a ceiling, a very good ceiling, but then that was it. There was nothing else on it. Jack, you went close in the ashes. I was close in the ashes at one point. Dropped off a little bit. You finished fifth, did you?
Yeah, no, I finished fourth in the end. I done one of my big, heavy game stacks again, and it was. I had a look at some projected ownership before the slate went off, and I saw Justin Herbert was coming in quite low owned, and everyone was sort of on that game anyway. But more on the Lions side, so I just pivoted straight onto the Chargers side of it. I went Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Quinton Johnson, and bought it back with Amon-Ra St. Brown on the other side. St. Brown and Keenan just absolutely nuked.
Hey, Johnson scored.
Yeah, Johnson scored, got in the end zone, done fine in the end. Yeah, he done enough in the end. Probably should have played Guyton actually. I watched quite.
I didn't know he was back. I had no idea he was back, but I'm glad we brought that up. I think that's a good point to bring at. Like, are they even on the slate this week? Or are they on a bye? First of all, are they playing?
I think they're on a bye this week. Actually, the Chargers.
Well, whenever it comes back, I think he's going to be much. Herbert's going to like him a lot more than Johnson. I want Johnson to work out, but it's just Guyton's going to be the guy. especially if Keenan Allen's hurt. So just remember that when you're making lineups. Maybe he doesn't end up being chalk. Hopefully it doesn't get talked about much, but I'll be playing him a lot when the time comes.
But yeah, Guyton got in the end zone as well. I mean, I watched a lot of that game. He looked the better. He looked the better player.
Way better. Like he can get.
So,
he just can get separation way more.
Yeah, and like you said, Kurt, Herbert clearly trust him. So that stack worked out nice in the end. I same as you, Nick. I broke even. I'm finding these big heavy game stacks and getting the right combos, but I'm just not getting the right one-off pieces in and around them at the minute. That's the only unfortunate thing at the minute. But we'll keep grinding. We'll find it, and the process is correct. So we're on the right path.
Yeah, Mark, good time away in Italy.
Yeah, well, that was fantastic. I think 2023, from an NFL DFS point of view, is going to be the year of the overstack. And I'm not talking about the game stack here. I'm talking about single teams. Like, so many weeks this year, if you take on 4 players from the same team, usually Houston. Now, no content creator ever tells you to take 4 players from, except I've heard one, TJ Zvarich, or whatever his name is. I think he's not a pro, but he does quite a lot of content. He's been saying about you should play 4 players from any one team. And last week was a great example. Houston again. You played Stroud, you played Singletary, you played Singletary, you played Tagdale and Noah Brown.
Noah Brown,
yeah, that would have been amazing. Now, historically, all content creators say there's not enough points there for you to play 4 from the same team. But it keeps happening. It happens with Miami as well.
When you could have probably done it. They scored 77.
Yeah. So it's I think it's going to be known as the year of the overstack, and you're going to find that probably next year people are talking more about this, stacking 4 players from one team, because we've got so many dominant offenses as well that help.
Teams could do it with, really, like Detroit. When you think you could stack the tight end, Laporta, is it? Amin-Ra, Gibbs and Montgomery's a little bit of a toss up. If one of them's injured, you're kind of jumping onto the other one. Chargers, to some extent, you could do it with.
You could have probably done it with the Cowboys this weekend. You could have probably gone.
Yeah,
you could have gone.
Yeah, that's the other team. Yeah,
Lamb, Cooks, Stack, and Ferguson.
Yep. So I think, this seems like a new phenomenon. Like, it's there seems to be enough points because some teams are dominating on offense. Now, you can't do it with every team. God, you couldn't find a 4 stack with the Patriots, for example. But there seems to be a lot of that going on and stuff. It's just something for people to bear in mind and stuff. And equally, Jack, if you combine that with your game stacks as well, you can end up with 6 players or 7 players from the same game.
Yeah.
If it's the right game, you're going to get the points, and nobody else is having that lineup. I think it's a great way to play chalky players and be unique.
I mean, it's definitely the way to go, I think. Let's say all of these heavy game stacks that I'm doing, these lineups are getting into the 180s every week, points-wise. And that's with, like I mentioned, all the one-off pieces in and around them. They're just complete. I played Tony Pollard this week, absolute dud. Just things like that. A conversation for another day. You can go and listen to the 5 Yard Rush podcast I've done with Murph. I had a good chat about Tony Pollard on there. I think he's dust. So watch him go off this week for about 4 touchdowns. We'll
just bet him, Jack. We'll bet him.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we don't want to play DFS.
Speaking of bets, anyway, I had a very good betting week in the golf. I know this is not a golf show, but 100 to 1 Camilo Villegas. Thank you, sir. What a win.
Woo! That's fire.
Yeah.
Well, Jack. Well done. And do you know what? You made an interesting point then about the stacks with you not having to play that bring back as well, because we had a little back and forth in the chat, didn't we? And I was trying to convince myself into playing Barkley because of the usage that we've seen in recent weeks and the touches. I thought, DeVito in at quarterback, surely Barkley's going to get 30 touches. And I think you could have given him that and it wouldn't matter. I don't know how many he ended up with on the day, but it felt like the Cowboys were on the field for basically all 4 quarters. But it was you asked a really good question, Matt. You said, would you play him individually? And I sat and I thought about it for about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And then I was like, do you know what? Yeah. No, I wouldn't actually. I wouldn't.
Bringbacks are just one-offs that happen to be in the same game as a stack. Bringbacks shouldn't exist as bringbacks, in my view.
Breaking news, the Jets just released Michael Carter.
What's
the running back?
Wow.
Yeah. Just come up on my on my notifications there.
Is Israel Abandoconda? Is he returning from injury or something?
Don't know. Adam Schefter just went breaking news, whatever. Michael Carter's been released by the Jets, so they should release Dalvin Cook. Really,
Has to be Izzy's back because Izzy's going to do that. Going to be cheaper probably.
yeah, maybe.
Rookie contract longer.
Let's load up on Jets players.
I'm sure Michael Carter will be picked up by someone. He's not a bad running back. So
We'll take him. We need a second running back behind Rashad White.
no, you don't. He's one of my locks each week.
Yeah.
So no, you don't.
He won people a lot of money this last week, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been awesome.
Kurt, for anyone that exclusively listens to this show and not the Putting for Dough show, for anyone who isn't a golf fan, just tell the listeners a little bit about what it is that you do over at Run Pure Sports, how you kind of got into DFS, and then we'll go from there.
I'm glad that I don't remember like my ever first downloading the app or anything, but I've always been like just obsessed with sports, like since I was like literally like 3 years old. Always played fantasy for like not even for money when I was like 7. I started playing for money when I was like 12. So naturally, you kind of just when you see the like probably the first commercial for DraftKings, I was like 18. I probably made an account. I somehow made an account illegally, either using my dad's information or something, and started grinding it up. Won like $500 in NBA GPP when I was like 19, and then used it to repair my car. Like I was like, oh, that's so clutch. Like I don't have to get a credit card or nothing. I can just pay for this. My parents were teaching me hard life lessons. And then, just kind of fell in love ever since. Probably, it's funny, we were talking about this today, but during COVID when there was no sports, it's kind of like when I really dug in as far as wanting to focus this as like a career and then just started living for it. So now I'm over at Run Pure. I'm the Swiss Army knife over there. Do literally a little bit of everything: golf, basketball, all types of different basketball, the football show on Sunday night. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Sometimes we'll host it at baseball shows, but on the bet side, I'll do the tracking for the bet side. So yeah, a little bit of everything over there. And also now doing only for right now, probably only year league at RotoWire. But so that's how I got here. Just obsessed with sports, having a baby now. And the mother of my future son was texting me, she's like, do you ever get tired of sports? And I was like, I feel like my brain does, but me, I just don't. Like my soul doesn't. My brain probably gets like maybe too much screen time or something. But I should. And I thought about that question for a long time. I was like, I should, because I take in so much. Like, I mean, it's 2:00 or 4. I've been grinding EuroLeague since 1. I just don't. I'm obsessed with it. It's all I think about 24/7. I wish I had ability to talk about something else besides sports, honestly, but I don't.
I think it's an addiction. I think sport.
It's definitely an addiction. I have a highly addictive mindset. I'm so glad this is my drug instead of like being a crackhead, because I am highly addictive.
You can do both, you know.
I don't want to do both. I'll stick with this.
Maybe not with the kid on the way, Kurt. Maybe it's time to not do that. But like, you might
man.
feel like it like 3 months in.
Oh, I'm sure. Probably sooner than that.
Yeah, I always say this. I say, just think, I could have been an absolute tearaway. I could have been out on the streets doing bad stuff. But you don't need to worry about any of that, because I'm sat on the couch just looking at sports on my phone, my iPad, the Mac, the TV. You don't need to worry. I'm safe at home.
Exactly.
These women don't know how lucky they have it when you're just sat there rather than out chasing some skirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Grinding niche sports,
Yes.
DFS, you know.
Rather than grinding a secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, Kurt, you've only been on for a few minutes. It's deteriorated. This is a classy show normally, you know.
Oh, it's no. You invite me. There's class shot out the window. I've probably already cussed like 4 times already. I'm trying not to, but yeah. No. Classy and Kurt just don't go together. It's not classy Kurt, dirty Kurt. Okay. Come on.
Yeah, on the football stuff with Run Pure, what kind of things do you get involved with on that, Kurt?
So I'll do the early morning playbooks when we play across the pond. I'll do the showdown playbooks for that. Every Sunday night, be on the Sunday Night Football Show on YouTube, Run Pure Sports. Go subscribe. So we'll break down the showdown. So it's mostly showdown stuff. Personal choice. I never want to put my core up or anything. I'm always late putting in my lineups on Sunday. So like, I don't want to worry about putting the core up or doing anything in the chat. I just want to focus on my lineups. So as far as Classic goes, and probably I shouldn't help for Classic because I feel like I'm just now kind of getting the hang of what the hell to do. But yeah, I no Classic for me. Just a lot of the showdown stuff. I'll go in and give I think it was 1 week. I was like, how are we not playing Jackson Smith and then Jigba? And it was a week that he kind of had his breakout game. So I'll go in and give tidbits in the chat and the Discord. But besides that, mostly just showdown NFL stuff, which I think is a lot more profitable.
And like in terms of your process, I know, like you said, you don't like putting out kind of like your cores and stuff like that. But what kind of goes into your lineup construction? Are you more of a projections guy? Are you more of like a feel or a game theory kind of player?
Become way more of a projections guy. But one example I'll use is the Singletary thing. Like, I know that was a chalky game. And I was like, well, no one's going to play Singletary. Everyone played him last week and was pissed off about him. No one's going to play him. He's cheap. It's a game environment that we love. And no one's going to play him. And if they get on the goal line, he's going to get the goal line carry. No one wanted him. Nobody. So I think the best piece of advice was, you all talk about stacks, but maybe kind of Jack kind of mentioned it, but playing the low-owned guys in the game. This game stack everyone wants.
Yeah, you go the other side of it, basically.
Yeah, and you don't have to complete. You can play like, okay, I'll play Amon Ra. I'll fade Keenan, which he went off, but the dude could have hurt his shoulder in the first quarter and you would have been mint. And I'll play like Eckler or something. It's an example. That didn't work out, but I'm saying like stuff like Eckler wasn't coming in that high owned. I don't think. Was he?
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, so like just ways to get different as far as games. Like still have a piece. You can still eat the chalky piece. Like Noah Brown, Dell, you can still eat that chalk and then just get different by Singletary. Like it just makes a hell of a lot of difference. Yeah, so that was my one little tidbit of advice. As far as my other process, I'm still working on it. It's getting better. I just feel so rushed on Sundays. I have an addiction with like the adrenaline that hits me when I have like 10 lineups to make in 5 minutes. So don't do that. I'll tell you what not to do as far as your process. Don't do that.
No, you say about that. I was sort of tilting myself, and I try not to tilt because it's DFS. Anything can happen. But I was kind of tilting myself in our DFS group. I was like, I haven't had enough time today because I work Sunday. It's like normally I like to sit down around about 1 o'clock in the afternoon our time, and then just grind through content up to lock basically.
I can't do that.
That's what I like to do, but that's part of my process. That's what I like to do. I couldn't do that because I was working, but I was working, so I was like, I can't do this. I got home, I don't know, about 4 o'clock. I was like, well, I've got about 2 hours here to, muck around with stuff, and I think this is going to go badly this week. And thankfully, I broke even last week, but it could have gone badly if the stacks just didn't come off in the end, which they did. But it's giving yourself enough time is important. I think an important part of the process.
When I take in too much content, I start overthinking everything. But I think for you, just a little bit I know about you is like, you're not going to you could take in all that content. You're still going to do what you want to do. Whereas I have little voices in my head like, well, he did like this guy. Like, no, so that's why it kind of gets in my way. So do what Jack says, but also be like Jack as far as don't let people cloud your judgment. Like, respect their point, view it. If they can change your mind, okay, but don't let them be like, oh, well, he said this, so it's right. No, like, you kind of still go in with what you already wanted to do and then mix in like some of the other stuff, which I wouldn't do. I'd end up being like, I got to get this guy, I got to let this guy. No, just don't do that.
I think we're all like that. So we've got a WhatsApp group that we talk a lot of DFS in, and Nick's mentioned it already.
No, we haven't, Jack. We haven't got a WhatsApp group. There's no secret WhatsApp group. Nobody asked to join it.
We'll have to get Kurt in it.
You're talking dirty in it.
He has to sign the official Secrets Act first.
Oh, you
NDA.
We'll talk about that off air. Nick was in there going on about Saquon Barkley, and me and Mark were both at him like, no, don't
play
do
him.
it.
Yeah.
And we did turn his head in the other way in the end, which thankfully worked out all right. But I mean, that could have equally gone the other way.
I had to do the same thing on Sunday. Like, I looked at my boy and I was like, bro, Barkley's 7K. I know it's the Cowboys, but he's 7K. And my friend was like, nah. And I was like, yeah, you're right. It's probably he's still like the best he can do is like 13 points. Like,
And Jack's a Giants fan, so like he was.
You do not play any Giants. So.
like I don't think he's that much likely to score. And even if he does score, I don't think he's getting past like 18 fantasy points. So it's just like, yeah, he's 7K, but for a reason. They can't score the ball. Like,
Kirk, can I ask a question on something you said there? You said that you think Showdown's more profitable than Classic.
oh yeah, for sure.
Why do you think that is? How do you think people can take advantage of that?
I think it's a little bit more predictable. Like, obviously, less players. You have a lot more people who are going to do dumb things. A lot more casuals play it, I think. Well, a lot more casuals will make dumb mistakes and not get bailed out by it. I'm sure.
Do you play all the Showdowns or just the major ones? Because you know that every game.
No. Oh, so yeah, I don't. Only the featured ones. Okay. I think what's funny, I did do that like one time last year, and I actually made a profit. But I was like, this is exhausting. It's too much on me.
No, I've done that before, where I had an optimizer at some point, and I was like building lineups for 20 lineups for every, on 13 games late between 4:30 and 6. It's like which is our time. It is tiring, which sounds mental, doesn't it? Just hit a button that says crunch or whatever. It is tiring.
There's more to it. You gotta.
Yeah, I know, but like, yeah, okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I've never been able to get Showdown really to work for me in NFL.
I love it. It's my favorite form as well.
I'm okay in soccer, but not in that.
God bless America. Ferner's getting beat by 30 points. What in the fudge? This slate is so bad, dude.
How's my boy Tavares doing for Madrid?
Oh, he got like 4 blocks. I think he got like 22.
Oh, that's okay. We'll take that.
Yeah, I need to get back to that. But yeah, what a gross slate, man.
You do the EuroLeague stuff on Sportsca, and you've now started doing the weekly article on RotoWire. Now that is quite niche.
Very.
The contests that come out, the main contest, $15, like 235 entries, is it? Obviously, it's not a huge field. We don't have a massive amount of stats for the players in terms of like projections and ownership and stuff like that. Very, very niche. Is there anything that you feel kind of translates between that and playing other major DFS sports like NFL or vice versa?
Yes. I hate to go right back to this point, but the Singletary play, like just not being afraid to play a guy that just feels so gross and icky. I play icky guys in EuroLeague all the time, and that's exactly what Singletary was. So I hate to keep referencing that for everything, but I didn't win. I mean, I won enough money, but like I didn't want to like life-changing money. But I'm gonna remember Singletary's day forever. I might never play him again, but yeah, just playing guys that make you feel uncomfortable, but you know they're upside and you know they're not going to be owned. I think that's probably what I would reference. Don't be afraid to get a little gross. You can play a lot of condom plays, but every once in a while you got to play that pistol, man. Like that guy that would go crazy. He's going to get you 2 or he's going to get you 30.
Please elaborate on condom play and what that actually means for people that don't read.
For me, I was asking the other day.
There's a negative connotation, but you got to have at least 1 or 2 condom plays to kind of like the guy is going to be the lowest scoring your guy in the lineup. But he's not going to kill you. Everyone can't be a superstar. So just give me the baseline stuff that I know you can give me that baseline. That's the condom play. Like you know it's going to be there. It's going to take care of you. Everyone else can do the job. We're just going to give you exactly what you need. Boom. Condom play. Can't live with them. You can't live without them.
That's exactly what I said in the chat the other day. You no one likes them, but they do a job. Like that's.
They did not do the job for me 2 months ago. Because I didn't have one. Because I didn't play condom plays, which is why you should play more condom plays. Be better than me.
And this is why I like Kurt's content, because it is to the point. And for people that haven't seen his work over at Run Pure Sports, you should check out the playbooks. The playbooks are very good. They're just, they break down.
Be entertaining.
They're entertaining, but it's just a short paragraph on each sort of player on the slate. It says, I like this about him, but I don't like this about him. He's a microwave scorer. That's another one of yours.
Oh, yeah. We all know those. The guys who just they miss the first 2 shots. It's not looking good. If they make their first 2, you're getting like 15 attempts out of them.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
so,
yeah.
But people should check that out because it's just it's content I enjoy because it's to the point. It's very quick and to the point. And go and check stuff out. Go and check it out. It's great.
I try to do, and I do this in college too, but like you don't really see the actual position on these guys. So you see a forward, you don't know if he's a center or like a small forward.
Yeah.
You don't know. I mean, you don't know if this guy is an athletic guy or if he's lunch pail guy. I'm trying to get at. So these people who play college in your league, they're going to play it, but they don't know what these guys look like. I try to give, look, this is a long athletic wing, New York. Like he's not a country boy. You know what I'm saying? Like to kind of like give them a better look. And like, I like athletic bigs against this guy, stuff like that. So I try to make paint a picture for people who obviously don't put faces to these guys' names.
Yeah.
That's always, I know Steve used to do, or not Steve, but it was Bruce used to do that for me for college football, and it really helped me. And now it helps me whenever Steve needs my help in the college basketball playbook, able to do that.
Do you know what I like when I've read your playbooks? Like Jack said, the way it's written, obviously I like that. That appeals to me because it's like you're not trying to take in too many stats and like all the projections and all the greens and the reds across the board and all stuff like that. It's kind of just like read as if you were chatting to your mates down at the local pub or the local bar or wherever. And what I like about it as well is when you're talking about those plays, like, and I think I've said it to you on Twitter when I messaged you the other week, is you kind of like, you can kind of see a ceiling for someone. You can kind of see, like, based on the situation or an injury or, it might be based on the matchup, whatever it might be, but you kind of see an avenue to, this could be a risk, but this guy could score points. Or there have been some slates where the smaller slates were, like the stacking, for example, and you're thinking, right, well, I'll take 3 from the same team. I might not do that on a larger slate because I might want to diversify a little bit more. But yeah, I just like the way that you write them. And I think there needs to probably be more of that in terms of like accessible DFS content where it's not really numbers driven and stat driven. And it's more just this, like, this is what I can see with my eyes. This is what we know about the situation. So this is why I kind of think that could be a good play. Not a must play. We don't do must plays.
No, especially not in your league.
No.
Oh, God.
There's potentially a pathway to a ceiling there, maybe a safe floor as well. And that's what I like. I feel like when I build my lineups, a lot of the time, the first lineup comes off a lot of feel. And then I put it in the chat and Jack and Mark just rip it to shreds and tell me to play right. And then I change it all.
That's how it goes.
That's why you broke even, Nick.
That is why I broke even, yeah. This has been a topic for a few weeks that we've kind of been teetering on, but bankroll management, and I'm just kind of opening the floor to everyone here because we want your opinion on it as well, Kurt. But it's been kind of on the agenda, but I guess we've been waiting for you to come back, Mark, as well, to discuss this. And that is literally, as professional as I'm going to be, that is literally all I had. So bankroll management when it comes to DFS.
It's easier for me than probably what it is for most people. And I'm not trying to be arrogant. It's all my parents. They taught me gambling at a young age, but they taught me how to do it right. So like, and I'm also very tight with my money, which is crazy for someone who gambles, but like, I will not play more than what I'm expected to lose every single dime. Like, just like what we talked about the other day, Nick, like expect the worst, be happy with anything better. So like anytime I play, I'm expecting $0 back, fully expecting that. Like, and if you can live with that, then you can be better. And like, that's the reason why I think I've been so good. I'm pretty sure there was a point where I went 2 years without even ever entering a main with my money. Unless I wanted a ticket, I didn't enter a main in any contest. I just wasn't doing it. Unless I wanted a ticket for it, I was not doing it. There's too many, like the Sharks cannot play like the $1 contest. So if you still have access to those contests, max them. Like instead of doing $15 in the main, do 15 in the one and run a freaking train. Choo choo. Like if you have it more likely to get first, you don't have to play against the Sharps. And this very important when it comes to like close to the niche stuff, like NFL. More, you can just do all single entry stuff. But for some of the niche stuff, like don't enter the main like in soccer if you're only going to enter once. I say you enter 15 in the $1 and just train that thing. That's a great example for soccer, EuroLeague, stuff like that. College basketball, which I do. I love running the train. College basketball is my favorite. But it's been working for me. Just don't live a bunch of means. I was able to been a profitable player ever since I've been live in the green, which is really hard to do, but it's because I play so careful. Obviously, I let it rip a little bit more than I used to, but it's because I started to see like month to month, year to year stuff where I very confident in myself that I can be like just EuroLeague. I max every single slate. Obviously, if I lost like 6 in a row, I'd probably be feeling that, but I'm confident in myself as a player that that's not going to happen. Like I put in the time and work that let's say at worst 5 or 6 of those slates, I had a guy get hurt every single lineup. I'm confident that last slate, I'm probably going to have a sweat and at least get some of it back. So have confidence in yourself, live amongst your means, and don't be you don't have to be a heavy hitter. Like you can dominate the jukebox for Christ's sake. Just stuff like that, like slow build. That you got to enjoy that slow grind. It's your favorite. But yeah,
I feel like there's less pressure on that as well because you don't feel as bad that like you said, the jukebox. You don't feel as bad multi-entering something like that when you're multi-entering something where the stakes are higher and like you said the sharks are circling.
It's not fun when you're uncomfortable. It's taking the fun out of it.
Yeah
I think it's it's that Monday, talk about NFL. If you wake up on a Monday, you see you've not made it and you feel bad about it, then you're clearly doing something wrong with your actual bankroll management. There was an aspect of this. The reason I brought this up in the chat was because we've been talking pretty much all season about, sort of leveling up your sort of variance a little bit through double ups and stuff, We talk about it with the golf as well and stuff and all that. But there's an aspect of bankroll management which people don't really talk about, which I think is really important because I've fallen foul of this, is, I talked about 2 weeks ago about maximizing your winnings when you get lucky and stuff. I think you also want to be in a contest, or entering contest, where if you do well, you're happy with the payout. Now, the reason I give this as an example, I think it was a few years ago now. I had a terrible first start to see. Like, I think we're about week 10 or 11. I'd done so badly. I only played like 8 lineups that week, and it all just went into the dime time because I was just so disheartened with everything. And that week, I came 6th out of 178,000 people, and I won $100. And I was kicking myself because every week in the before that season, I hadn't played any contest below $3 or something, or $5 or whatever. And it's something which stuck with me now because we all have ups and downs, and life. We're not doing this professionally, so life sometimes dictates what our bankrolls are and stuff, and that's more important than your DFS play. So for me, definitely over the years, the stakes I play goes like this and stuff and all that. But one thing I'm very wary about is before I enter any contest, I think to myself, am I going to be happy if I do really well here and get lucky with the payout structure of this contest and stuff? And I think it's important because the other thing is, although doesn't feel like that's a sort of a risk of ruin defensive sort of strategy, it is in a way because don't forget, especially with NFL DFS, there's lots of downs in there. And the ups are the bits that keep you going and stuff. And like Kurt's just talking about is like with his niche sports, 5 downs, the 6th is the one that gets you up there. But if that 6th one doesn't get you up high enough, you're just slowly losing money again. So, so I don't think it's just... risk of ruin is a really massive part of bankroll management, but I think you've also got to be in contests you like to win, which is why I like, we've preached this for God knows how many years now, single entry contests, 3 entry max contests and stuff. If you're sort of player who's listening to our show and stuff. That's kind of really where you need to be, and you don't need to be entering the milli every. God, how many professionals don't enter the milli every week? There's loads of professionals.
No, I'm
who
not
don't do
touching. There's not a chance I'm touching the milli. I win tickets to it, and I entered the money in tickets. And it's actually another good way. I win like the dollar contest, get a $25 ticket, and like I cashed 2, I think last week when I had a couple. It's like a free $50 basically. So I was like, cool.
Yeah.
But I'm focusing on all the other. Like I'd much rather play high dollar single entry than do like 2 or 3 lineups in that with my own money. It's not a ticket.
And I really like that call, Kurt, on the on if you're going to, rather than spending say $15 or $20 on that one entry, spend it on multiple but at a lower stake and stuff. Where
and throw a couple dollars at like the satellites. Like if you're someone who just has an itch to play those bigger contests, but you don't want to spend $15 or something, like play $1. Like play $1 every day. Try to win one ticket, and if you lose, you lost $7 trying to get a $50 ticket. So what? You can enter the same lineup you're entering into like the jukebox. Maybe you win a couple, you go even, something like that. This is for the small. This is what I used to do back in the day. Like this is how you grind it up. Now I just max every single $1 satellite I see because I can still do that.
And as Nick knows to his annoyance, the pros can play $5 contests and above.
You have to attack that. Like I'm trying to juice it with everything I have in me. That's why I only like doing that because I'm.
Yeah, every time Nick gets beaten by Saramak in something, he starts moaning about why he's in this $5 contest with me.
He's so good, dude.
Yeah, you see him on the leaderboard, and you're just like, why are you in the contest that I'm in? Like that shouldn't be happening.
He can still play low dollar.
He can play $5.
Yeah, he plays a lot of soccer, $5 single entry contest.
That's because there's not enough content. There's not enough action in there for him.
No.
Him and Red. Jack, did you know Nick had won those, Jack?
Well, no, I didn't know that, mate. I didn't know that at all.
Can't remember mentioning it.
We could talk about it, but we've probably just not got enough time. But
well done, Paul.
Well done, Paul. And it's nice gratification because Paul literally every week he comments on Twitter, I'll listen to this later, I'll listen to it, whatever. He's listened to it.
Because he's out at a gig.
Yeah, usually at a gig. And nice to see a listener actually win who has been absorbing the content throughout the year. So that's nice. All right, let's have a little look.
You better explain to Kurt how it works as well, by the way.
Yeah, so
this. I guess I could go start. I'll go start my college basketball stuff while you all do this. But appreciate you guys having me on. I'm sorry, there's an hour early lock for college, but I'm gonna head out. But appreciate it. This looks awesome. I wish DraftKings did this. So yeah, you guys are gonna shit this week in Fantasy Game Day. That looks so sick. I love that outlook. Yeah, good stuff, guys.
I made this again. This is me.
Oh man, I thought it was them. Damn.
No, this is my.
I'm a big fan of mixed graphic design and stuff. So yeah, guys, good talking to you.
Appreciate it.
Cheers,
Thanks, loving.
Sweet.
Kurt is a busy man. Yeah. So this week's winner. Let's have a little look. Dak Prescott stacked with CD Lamb. That is where the Dallas stack ends. Mixon and Boyd with a bring back of Tank Dell. Rashad White, Keenan Allen, Mark Andrews, 232.66. Interestingly, there was actually another lineup that also finished with 232.66 points. And I thought, oh, that's someone that's entered the same lineup, either a duplicate lineup or they've entered the same lineup themselves. And it actually wasn't. So it was the same captain and QB, but then they had Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, Zay Flowers. Keenan Allen was the only other duplicate. So they had Mike Evans and Jake Ferguson from Dallas as well. So a big old Dallas stack in there of QB, wide receiver, captain, running back, and tight end. But interestingly, there you go, the magic number again. But interestingly, it's on the same number of points. So what are the chances? But yeah, this lineup, what are our thoughts on it?
My thoughts are it's a very high scoring lineup considering it's got 2 duds in it, in Mixon and Andrews, really.
Yeah.
very impressive.
Boyd was a bit of a dud as well. I mean, he dropped one in the end zone as well. He should have had a much better day than what he did. But yeah, no, I agree. Kind of agree with you there, Mark. I mean,
Good lineup.
Spot on with the captain, CD Lamb, absolutely nuked the slate. And you've paired him with Dak, which is great. You've got the little stack there. You've got a game onslaught as such there with Boyd, Mixon, and Dell. Although Mixon's let you down in that one. Keenan Allen nuked, as we said earlier. Rashad White was just fine as well. It's a nice build.
It's the funny thing about that Cincinnati Houston game is like that was almost one of the worst trios you could play out of it as well, and it still won, which is fantastic. It's like it just goes to show you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. That's the point. You don't have to be perfect and stuff. So like
if I was being critical, the only thing
that's normally me who does that.
Like I had CD Lamb as my captain, and for some reason I've not changed the little letters at the side of him there. I've still got the tight end one on there, but he's obviously not a tight end, he's wide receiver. I had CD Lamb as captain purely because over the last couple of weeks, after some initial criticism earlier in the season about is he a true wide receiver one, or is he one of them kind of on the cusp, he's just gone absolutely nuclear the last couple of weeks. And I just like that matchup last week for Dallas. Dak Prescott's on a bit of a tear at the moment. I like that. I understand the Bengals. I played Mixon as well. Bit disappointing. You made a good point, Jack. Mixon is Pollard. Like it's literally like we're looking at practically the same running back at this stage. It feels like there's just no burst. Doesn't feel like he can have a big game anytime soon.
In regards to Pollard, that could have been a lot different. He got stuffed on the 1 yard line twice, so that could have been a lot different to what it was. But yeah, they are very similar running backs now. There's no juice there with either of them, and they need to find the end zone to pay off for you. That's the unfortunate thing with them.
Mixon did find the end zone. He still barely didn't.
He did. Yeah.
But like that, and that's literally shows his week 12.5. You're disappointed with that, but that's with a score of a touchdown in there. So that without that, it's an absolute dud. Boyd, I didn't mind, chalky, if anything, but do you know what? I didn't mind it. Tank Dell, I had Noah Brown, but that was mainly because I just couldn't get to Tank Dell. Rashad White, like that, usage is there. Keenan Allen feels fairly matchup proof at this stage because there isn't much else to throw to in LA other than him and Eckler out of the backfield. So I like that. I actually preferred St. Brown on the other side, but they both scored really well at the end of the day. You could have played either. The one thing I don't really like about this is the tight end.
I agree.
And I say that because I don't know what the pricing was, but I'd hazard a guess Mark Andrews was probably in the top 4 on the pricing. Just based on the tight ends on this slate, there was no Travis Kelce, so he'd have definitely been up there.
I would have said he was probably the most expensive on the slate.
And we had that week, we had tight end week, and the only tight end I ever feel all that safe paying up for is Travis Kelce. And even then, I still don't like doing it. Yeah. Could that have been a pay down to, say, a Jake Ferguson? And could that money have been used elsewhere in this lineup?
Or you could have paid down even more. You could have got to McBride, and then you could have done what you wanted. Then you could have got off Mixon or Boyd, and you could have just gone whatever way you wanted to.
This lineup might be made where the tight end was the last one. They liked everything else, and they could afford to have Mark Andrews because they had that money left over.
Yeah, no,
it could have been made like that.
I mention that on the show every week about them in division games, and it sounds really silly because that game went off between the Ravens and the Browns. But
the two defenses were the best scorers, most useful plays, weren't they?
I know. I don't like attacking, especially in the AFC North, because them teams just beat each other up the whole year. I don't like attacking in division games a lot. All right, people come at me now. The the Cowboys have absolutely smashed and Dak's gone off against the Giants. You know, that's easy. You watch the Giants like me, that's easily done. I'm firm agreement with Nick here. I don't like the Mark Andrews play just because it was against the Browns, and the Browns their defense is solid as it is. And like I just said, them two teams beat each other up all year.
The other aspect about the Mark Andrews, I wonder if it was like the low own play that they were going for.
Maybe.
Yeah, potentially. But I still think you could have eaten the chalk at that position and gone to like a McBride, like you said, Jack, or you've got a Dallas stack already. So throw in a Jake Ferguson or McBride, whichever you want, eating the chalk there, and then maybe got a little bit different at running back. I just feel like with the budget that might have freed up, though Mixon, I liked him as well going into the weekend, but Mixon was a chalky play at running back and hasn't had a particularly good season. Could you potentially have paid up a little bit there for a position that notoriously is more consistent than tight end? The other thing is, and I get what you're saying, Mark, that could have been the last piece of the puzzle. So he literally could have got to tight end and thought, do you know what am I left with my budget? Jackpot, I can get to Mark Andrews. I don't really like that way of building a lineup either, because we always say you can leave money on the table, and if that's that's a lesson for anyone who's listening to this part of the show now, is don't feel that because the money's there you have to pay for the most expensive at that position. Yeah, that's my only. And you know what, Mark Andrews is a good tight end, and he has shown he can be productive, but I don't wholly trust the Ravens offense, because you just don't know where the points are coming from one week to the next.
You make a really good point about putting Ferguson in that position, and that makes complete and utter sense. If you do that, you've got the two stack there with Dak. I personally would have pivoted off Boyd, because I think Boyd would have been quite highly owned, because people saw that Higgins was out. They automatically, even though I put this in the value report about Trenton Irwin was the one who was going to play the Higgins role the whole day. Boyd doesn't move. His position never moves when there's an injury in that team. He plays the same role the whole time. All right, he should have had a better day. He dropped that touchdown in the end zone.
Sorry.
But I think the lineup would have made more sense if you'd gone to Ferguson and then pivoted off Boyd and gone to someone else at wide receiver and just play the chalky Joe Mixon, because it doesn't matter, because I don't know, 70% of the field probably played Joe Mixon last week. It's hard. It's very hard. It's hard to be critical of a lineup that's just won, but that's my little take on it. I agree with Nick. I would have got off Mark Andrews.
Yeah.
Has Mark Andrews been any very good for the last year and a half? I don't seem to remember him being that good.
He has peak games, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's not. He had that fairly consistent year, but then I feel like for the past 18 months, well, it's kind of season and a half, really, I just don't like. He has them peaks and troughs. It's a bit like Hawkinson, but Hawkinson's probably a little bit more reliable now that he's had his change of scenery from Detroit to Minnesota. But even he's the same. Just overall, it's just a position of variance, and yeah, that would be my only thing. Like you said, Jack, it's hard to be critical of a lineup that's won, and it's my only criticism of this lineup. In fairness, everything else I actually really quite like, Mixon, give or take. But I'm being hypocritical there because I picked him myself. But yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter when 70% of the field have got him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
no. That Baltimore Cleveland game was a great example of how you can't predict the future in DFS, and the fact that both teams scored over 30 points, and the two usable pieces were the defenses. And Lamar Jackson and a team that scores over 30 points only had half a point more than Tommy DeVito, fantasy-wise and stuff. So, for half the price. Or he was double the price, sorry. So it just goes to show you can't predict all these rules and everything, because we always go on about all those rules and everything that people say you should follow. They're all gibberish, aren't they? It's like, these things happen.
Absolutely. Well done, whoever's lineup that belongs to. Guess we will see what this week brings. I literally snuck into the cash on Fantasy Game Day this week, and by snuck in, I think there was 34 or 35 cash spots. I got the last one, so nice. It was a little sweat at the end when the last games were finishing. But yeah, just about snuck in. So
I love the anonymous leaderboards this week. That's all I'm saying. No one knows how bad I did.
Jack, Mark, and Mark, are you back next week? Are you in Italy?
We'll see. We'll see.
See? Okay.
Yeah, it should be around. Are you going to be around on the Tuesday or?
I am. It's international break, so
okay.
I should be here on Tuesday. Yeah.
We're going to have international players.
It's not so much us; it's the rest of the league. So, we've got a couple of under 21s. So they're. I think you only need 3, and then you've got enough to postpone. And I think that's about what we've got. I think it's the only reason we're keeping hold of Josh McGuinness. He just keeps getting capped for Northern Ireland. He never plays for us, but keeps getting picked.
By the way, anybody, Nick, who watched the golf show over the year will find it quite funny that you're giving me stick about not turning up.
I know. It's the only reason I keep doing it, Mark. It's the only reason I keep doing it.
It just makes us laugh, doesn't it? Yeah.
Promo stuff, newsletters, things like that. Jack, I'll leave that to you.
Fantasy Game Day code is TDS4D. Find me on Twitter at Jack Humphrey DFS. I think we might talk about a bit betting next week. Actually, I want to get a bit more off my chest. I keep seeing a lot of stuff on Twitter at the minute, and it's getting on my nerves. So I want to get some stuff off my chest. And yeah, make sure you go and check out Kurt's work. I know he had to sort of leave us there, but he's a great guy. Like we've all said, we enjoy his content because it's to the point. It's quick and to the point. There's no bull crap with it. It is what it is, and we enjoy that. So make sure you go and check out his work at Run Pure Sport and RotoWire.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us all on the X. I'm at Nick of Wigan. Mark is at _SMRF. Jack is at Jack Humphrey DFS. Thank you again for tuning in. Good luck this weekend, and we will see you next Tuesday.